The identity is finally disclosed. God claims that there was an excessively extended period of silence, a quiet that reverberated through sleepless nights and uncertain mornings. You stood motionless in it, asking your pillow why it constantly felt like a witness to secrets too big to bear, and asking the wind if it had answers. You were attempting to preserve something, either a truth or a life. However, each time you opened your heart to comprehend it, someone swiftly closed the door once more, perhaps terrified of the light that may enter. The trip hasn't been easy. You have seen eyes that once shone when they saw yours turn away, and you have seen faces change with the seasons. When your soul was shattering, you discovered how to grin. When no one helped you, you learned to help others. However, you anticipated something, didn't you? Even when nobody else took it seriously. You always knew deep down, even when they told you that you were dreaming, making up stories, or picturing things. The night you asked if it was observing them, you inquired as to whether the stars saw you cry. Why do I feel like there's something I'm not supposed to see? You said to the early sky. However, you were supposed to see it. The dark places they hid in were designed for you to pass through. To uncover what others buried, you were selected. It wasn't insane. It wasn't a fixation. It was the development of your discernment. And the moment has now come. No more secrets. Charades are over. Heaven is no longer waiting as the painstakingly constructed mask slips. They have drawn back the curtain. The identity is finally disclosed. You know the name because the whispers in your dreams became loud, not because you wanted to. Since they believed you weren't paying attention, you heard them say stuff. Because you could hear their footsteps echoing from heaven. The voice you believed turned out to be the one marked by heaven. And now, the person who has concealed their true identity is revealed. God only speaks once. It never occurred to you. Every odd sensation, every instance in which you felt observed, and every change in their tone that awakened your soul were all genuine. Anxiety wasn't the burden on your chest every morning. It was a revelation attempting to emerge. Someone who never really wanted to be known was in your company. However, the truth never goes to sleep. When you asked too many questions, their tone changed. When you approached them too closely, they altered their behavior. Despite their pretense of being open, they never allowed you to approach the vault. And you continued to be kind. You believed that love could make falsehoods less painful. You believed that the mask could be removed with patience. However, some people are resistant to change. They wish to mislead. Until they have achieved their goals, they wish to stay secret. However, God does not permit injustice to persist indefinitely. No man can erase the name that is being written down on a scroll. What they did behind your back is now associated with their name. In a chamber where every lie is pierced by the fire of heaven, their identity is being read out loud. The angels are aware. On the night you sobbed by yourself in the restroom, Archangel Michael was by your side as you murmured, "I don't understand why I feel betrayed when I don't even have the proof." And you do now. You have more than just evidence. Realms that see through veils have confirmed your claims. This individual, this name, knew they had your trust. They took advantage of your sympathy. Just enough was mentioned to keep you interested. To hide the fact that they were the cause, they pretended to be victims. They used gentle falsehoods and smiles to persuade people against you. They caused you to doubt yourself. They planted blades behind their backs and said things like, "I would never do that," or "I'm just being honest." Even when someone tries to hurt you, you see the wounded child in them, therefore you forgive them again because your heart isn't like theirs. However, God did not endow you with intelligence so that those who perceive your grace as weakness may take advantage of you. Your spiritual eyes are awake now, just as they were at birth. Your dreams weren't simply that, dreams. The faces you dreamed of weren't made up. You had never been to the room you kept seeing, but it was genuine. There was a meeting. They exchanged words. Unbeknownst to you, actions were taken against you. However, heaven was also present. They broke the pen they used to write their plans. Their plans are falling apart. They believed they had time. They believed that the lies would protect them. However, the light has come in. The light you are carrying. You become the light. The identity is finally disclosed. The name is more than just a letter combination, not merely a human designation. Its treachery has now tarnished its reputation. It's a name that used to make you happy but now makes you feel sick. It is a name that is now associated with your spiritual lesson and was formerly part of your inner circle. This individual believed you would never learn. But God knew that in order to be free, you had to know. Too much time has been spent crying over someone who secretly laughed while you were feeling low. You prayed for someone who elevated himself by using your name. When it came down to it, you stood up for someone who refused to even bring you up. Heaven still saw your heart. Heaven witnessed your efforts. We remember your kindness. The exposure that comes with drama is not what this is. Silence, quiet, eyes opening, shaky voices, backs turning, plans failing, and people recognizing that the person they once defended was not who they seemed are all part of it. Anger is not necessary for this exposure. Truth is all that is needed, and it has come. It is suddenly palpable in your chest. The burden you've been bearing is beginning to lessen. Your spirit was correct all along, thus the pain under your ribs, the one that throbbed when they lied to your face, is subsiding. You weren't suspicious. You were foresight. You weren't thinking too much. You were exposing what they were trying to hide. And it's finished now. They've unrolled the scroll. The identity has been made public. Ash has replaced the masks. In the eyes of heaven, you have been justified. Though heaven is taking care of them, there are still discussions, trades, transactions, and looks that you are unaware of. Fighting for each piece of the puzzle is not necessary. All you have to do is walk in the freedom that comes with knowing that your feelings were valid. You had every right to hesitate, to have doubts, and to withdraw when you did. Heaven summoned you awake even if people labeled you harsh, sensitive, or aloof. They have no idea what lies ahead. They believed they were getting away with it. But when the hand of God moves, nobody escapes. What you could not see, your forefathers saw. The prayers for you that you were unaware were being said. You never had to climb mountains because of those prayers. You were experiencing anxiousness, then all of a sudden you felt calm. It was because angels from heaven came to take your soul. The person who cheated on you, whose name is now publicly visible, will start to suffer the consequences not from your actions, but rather from the disintegration of all they relied on. They will get back what they took. Their private words will reverberate along their own journey. Their time of reckoning will be what they intended for your delay. And you will rise, not with retribution, but with enlightenment. You will rise because it was always your season, not because they fell. Since they were aware of what would happen if you completely entered your understanding, they attempted to keep you mired in confusion. You're not a little person. You're not a fool. You're not weak. The identity is finally disclosed. The identity is disclosed along with the name. The shroud is gradually slowly descending, resembling mist removing the morning. This truth was once kept hidden behind closed doors, not out of malice, but because of perfect timing. It was delayed to prepare the environment around you, not to harm you. Since nothing could ever silence your spirit once you learned your name, some people feared your awakening. There is no paper with the name on it. It cannot be stored in worldly hands, files, or scrolls, nor can it be spoken by lips that bear falsehoods. Your name is ingrained in your blood and the sigh that escapes your chest when you experience something that no one else can describe. When they recur in your nightmares, that's it. At night, when you feel suddenly watched, remembered, and somehow reassured, it's in the colors that speak to you. Beloved Flame is the name. People who have never comprehended the sound your spirit made when it entered a room have called you numerous names. You were referred to as sensitive by some. You were referred to as stubborn by others. You were either too much or not enough, according to others. Some people left you without telling you why. However, I can now tell you that none of them ever saw you in your entirety since it had not yet emerged. It needed to be secured until the storm passes and the light dares to return. A name like a beloved flame cannot be shared. According to God, you weren't abandoned. You were concealed. And you were a sign even when you were hidden. People responded to you so intensely because of this. Occasionally with affection and other times with perplexity or denial. Even when you attempted to extinguish your flame, they sensed it. And the fading period is now ended. You're becoming more radiant. Around you, certain things will start to feel different. There may be a charge in the air. Repeating symbols, numbers, messages hidden in odd places, songs, dreams, or whispers overheard are some of the things you might start to notice. It's no accident. To let your spirit know that you are awake and not dreaming, I have dispatched my messengers to get your surroundings ready. One lady had a truth about you in her mouth, but she never said it. She was aware of something. A man who couldn't explain why he felt connected to your destiny watched you from a distance. Someone who doesn't even know your name prayed for you. However, I heard them. I moved because of them when their voice reached my throne. There are also letters in your life that you have never read. You may have forgotten the symptoms of your youth, but they are suddenly coming back. The components of the jigsaw will no longer be dispersed when the identity is made public. You have an inexplicable connection to something that you were born with. You could always tell when someone was telling lies. Even when someone smiled, you could tell their heart was hurting. You shed tears over things that never happened to you. Pain that wasn't part of your time frame was carried by you. Your spirit was open, which is why it remains thus. Do you recall the moment you glanced at the stars and questioned why you felt as though you were from a different planet, dearest flame? It wasn't merely fantasy. It was an act of remembering. Your soul arrived here with a mission, a contract, and a light to shine. Even if you were unaware of it, you have already started. Every loving deed you performed while you were in need. Every time you decided to forego retribution in favor of forgiveness. You fulfilled a portion of it each time you stayed when you could have left. And now for the most profound section. The fire within you will now be seen. God predicts a split in the near future, not for punishment, but for change. The people in your orbit who don't see your light will start to disappear. Avoid chasing. I'll bring you people who will remember who you are by looking into your eyes. Convenience won't make these buddies. These will be divinely timed soul connections. There's a letter on its way. A letter from heaven, not necessarily in the mail or on paper. You will receive a message that will shake you. With a rather than fear, it will provide an answer to a long-held question. Anything that you believed would never be fixed. Your time for heavenly confirmation is now. The private tears you shed are now being valued as gold. The silence has been resonating more loudly than thunder, and the wind has been speaking. I'm sure you've heard the whispers. The air shivered quietly. The unseen change in the environment surrounding you. The way your heart beats when there's nothing to worry about. These aren't nothing. They are indicators. Something sacred has been approaching. Something that has long been hidden is now visible. Like an unrelenting dawn, a long-hidden truth is emerging. You are on the precipice of a spiritual revelation. It's revealed who it is. Wait is the name. The scrolls of heaven are not opened all at once. It slowly and deliberately flips through each page. It is no longer holy if it is hurried. Therefore, this truth must be expressed as the Spirit wills rather than as man insists. The name is revered. Years of broken promises, suppressed love, and finally unleashed love are all weighed down by the identity. Someone has always been close to you. In spaces you were unaware they had penetrated. You didn't know they heard your prayers. Their presence has been felt in your quietest sobs, in your moments of tiredness, and in your dreams. They have strolled silently around you, bearing secrets and a name they were afraid to reveal. However, heaven is now in motion. Now, at last, God is revealing not for shame or retaliation, but for justice, truth, repair, soul protection, and heart renewal. You're entitled to know. You will now. The spiritual world has a curtain. From the 5th of the month onward, it has been fluttering for weeks. It might have caught your attention. Your sleep was disturbed and your thoughts kept wandering back in time to the same face. It's not a coincidence. It's not sentimentality. It is enlightenment. It has finally arrived after the heavens have been gradually preparing you. Your suspicions were never unfounded. Angels have been anxiously observing. Someone has been keeping their truth from themselves as well as from you. They had an unnatural smile on their faces. They gave sweet-tasting words, but beneath them lay a decision, a betrayal, or a dread. God still provided for you, nevertheless. He continued to wait until the appropriate moment, which is now. It's revealed who it is. The soul is not yet prepared to proclaim the name, but it exists. Not until you realize how serious what is being revealed is. This individual, this secret one, has a purpose in your life as well as a cause of suffering. Yes, they were sent as a test, but it wasn't the only reason. They were intended to serve as a mirror as well. Through them, you would witness not only their dishonesty but also your own resilience, forgiveness, and ability to get back up after falling. You questioned why being around them made your body feel heavy. You believed it was your own fault, but in reality, your spirit understood what your mind was yet unable to express. There was no tranquility in the air surrounding them. Confusion was the cause. You thought it was love. It was disturbance, though. The soul is unable to lie, regardless of how proficient the tongue gets. This is meant to awaken, not to condemn. You have to let go of someone. One person you need to keep in mind and another you are going to rediscover for yourself. Now listen with your spirit rather than your hearing. You feel the name pressing against your heart, don't you? It's not alien. It is recognizable. On the edge of your knowledge, it was constantly present. Once upon a time, this individual treated your trust as if it were insignificant. They made bread with you, laughed with you, and begged you to believe them while they were secretly crafting another tale. However, God permitted it. Instead of breaking you, you were supposed to be strengthened. Because sometimes the very soil in which your roots grow deepest is betrayal. It's revealed who it is. It's called. Feel it? It will arrive. Heaven never falters. It is impossible to conceal what God reveals. You've been surrounded by this individual for a reason. They were on time. It was marked each time they went and came back. Their movements had a spiritual pulse and a rhythm. Did you not notice it? Because God was watching and timing everything, they were unable to stop the pattern, the delays, and the disappearances. Even if you were unaware of it, you were protected. Even as you waited in bewilderment, you were being delivered. It wasn't a waste. A line has been inscribed in the books of heaven. The Almighty has already seen the person who believed you would never find out. The sight of God is flawless. Nothing is overlooked. Nothing is removed. The light of heavenly exposure makes certain names shudder. And now this name is shaking. This person has cold sweats when they wake up. They mistakenly believe it to be anxiousness, but it's actually their spirit responding to the light that is approaching them. They are no longer able to avoid it. Their lies are coming undone. They're losing their mask. You have experienced it, have you not? The change, an unseen shift has occurred. They are no longer safe in the shadows. Truth doesn't stop, it never stops. You are safe according to God. I'm with you. Nothing bad will happen to you. I've prepared a barrier of unfailing divine light around you. Get some rest, kid. You've experienced enough. I'm not going to ignore your tears. The name now. Their initials have sounded like a bell in your heart. You've seen the letter too often to ignore it. It appeared in dreams, in addresses, and even in the initials etched on old notebooks. You questioned why it kept coming back. Since it's the name. Because heaven was always trying to show you. The name of this individual used to be consoling. It now provides clarity. They are rewriting their place in your life. It's revealed who it is. Elias is the name. Elias is the name. And the days of acting are past. You had a special place in your heart for Elias. They were your awakening, not because they were your forever. At first, they had no intention of hurting anyone, but they got lost somewhere on the road. They were blinded by pride. Heaven even offered them opportunity to turn around, repent, and decide on the truth, but they chose not to. Then the realization occurs. Elias has to be freed from your spirit. Give up asking questions. You are not constrained by their decisions. Their acts don't define you. Their apology does not determine your future. Now the sky is talking over you. You have been selected. You're getting up. Your spirit is safe. You'll view things differently. You won't be afraid to love. You'll stroll with your name restored. There's always more to discover. But for the time being, let this fact,